Hi there, I'm Kristen. You're watching Kristen Cooks. I have two low carb, high protein meal prep ideas for you and one quick and easy dinner. So let's get cooking. So the first recipe I'm going to do is egg roll in a bowl. And I'm going to first prep these veggies here. We have some ginger, onion, and garlic. And first I'm going to peel the ginger. I don't know if it's pretty easy to peel fresh garlic. All you do is just take a spoon and just scrape it over the top, and the skin comes off really easy. So I'm just going to get this going and then mince this really good and along with the garlic, and I'll be back. So in this pan here, I should put a little oil. Just a little oil like that. And I'm going to add in some diced onion. I did probably about a quarter of a large onion. It was pretty big, so I don't want to put in too much. Ooh, I don't like that, whatever this is. The center of it, I think. Okay. I'll just put a little salt in. Move this around a little bit. There's a piece of ginger here. Like this here. Okay, and then I'm going to use ground turkey for the protein, but you could use ground beef or chicken or sausage, whatever you want to use. But I'll just break this up, season the turkey a little bit with a little bit of salt and pepper, not too much, because we're going to be adding soy sauce and hoisin sauce, and those can be pretty, salty. So I'll just let these two things cook together for a little bit. So this is called egg roll in a bowl. I don't know if I said that or not, but I have my meat all browned here with some diced onion, and then I'm going to throw in a bunch of garlic and some minced ginger. Put that in. Use my little mix and chop here. And start getting some flavor out of all this here. I put a little salt in the beginning of this cooking, so I don't think I'm going to do any more right this minute because I have some other things to add, and I don't want it to get too salty. So I'm starting to smell the garlic and the ginger, so that tells me it's time to add in other ingredients. So I'm going to put in this tricolor bag of coleslaw. This is a 14-ounce bag, but I think I'm going to only use about half of it. I don't need like a whole lot. And my daughter will probably help me eat this too, and I don't think she won't want like a lot of cabbage in here. So I'll just use maybe a little over half. I have about that much left. Yeah, that's good. And then I'm going to add in a quarter cup of water. And let this cook down a little bit. Yeah, a whole bag would have been just too much of the cabbage. I mean, it is going to cook down quite a bit, but I just didn't want too much in it. And then also, I'm going to use my spoon here to scrape up the bits from the turkey from when it was cooking, because the water that's coming off the cabbage is going to help me deglaze the pan a little bit. And you don't want to lose some of these flavors on the bottom of the pan. And I gotta tell you, this is smelling really good. I can really smell the garlic and the ginger. I love those flavors. Not to mention, garlic and ginger are really good for you too. They're really good for you. Okay, so now we can start adding in more ingredients here. So I have 1/8 of a cup of reduced sodium soy sauce. Just put that in. And then 1/2 teaspoon of sesame oil. I'll just eyeball this. I love sesame oil. I just don't want it to get too oily, but anyway. And then 1/2 teaspoon of rice wine vinegar. I don't have rice wine vinegar, but I do have rice vinegar. This is good for seasoning rice. I'll just put a little bit of that in like that. And then after all this, I'm going to add in some hoisin sauce. Like that. I'll just do, it says 1/4 to 1/2 cup, but I'm just going to kind of eyeball it. We'll say like that. We'll start with that. I'm sure this is probably plenty right here. Okay. And then I have my heat here on medium. I'm just going to turn it down to like medium low. And then I'll just let this simmer, and that's it. It's really easy, and I can have this for my lunch for this week, and my daughter could take it in her lunch for school. Because she's got, you know, they have a microwave. You can use microwaves in high school. It's very exciting. But I think I'll garnish it with a little bit of sesame seed. And you know, I think I have some bean sprouts. I love bean sprouts, so I think I might put those in here as well. And then this is pretty much done. Bean sprouts, just 1 can, drained it. And then we'll throw it in. This will add just like a little bit more of a crunchy texture to this mixture. And the thing that makes this low carb, of course, is we're not using egg roll wrappers. And that cuts down quite a bit on the carbs because those are pretty carby. But anyway, this is my first time making this, and I think this is a good one. Especially with, you know, spring is right around the corner. It's time to start being a little bit more conscientious of what we're eating. Because, you know, it's almost summertime, wearing shorts and everything. So this is a good start. Time to get rid of a lot of those carb-heavy meals and casseroles and just start being a little bit more mindful of what we're eating. So I'm gonna let this finish cooking and then I'll give it a try. So while I'm waiting for the egg roll in a bowl to finish cooking, I'm just gonna toast up some sesame seeds here. It's really easy, just put them in a dry pan. Just put in however much you wanna use. About like that. And turn the heat on, about low, medium low. Don't leave it alone, make sure you stay around the pan here and make sure, because they'll burn really, really fast. But yeah, you just let them sit here and toast. So here it is, all done. That's all there is to it. A little of this and a little of that. A little cooking time. And you have a meal for a couple days in the fridge. And then I'll garnish it with a little bit of sesame seeds. And there we go. So let's give it a taste. It smells really good. Ooh, it's really, really hot though. Really hot. That's good. There's a lot of flavor from the ginger and the garlic, and then the hoisin sauce just adds a little bit of sweetness to it. And the vinegar just kind of brightens it up a little bit. So I think this is a winner. This is great. I will type out the recipe in the description box for you because I just have it written down here. I don't have a link, but yeah, I hope you try it. This is a good one.
All right, moving on for a dinner tutorial. So beef and cheddar sliders with smashed potatoes. So I have these whole wheat slider buns that I'm just cutting down the middle to cut them in half. Anyway, I'm just doing this so I can toast them really quick. You don't have to do this part, but I like the extra little bit of crunchy texture you get from toasting the sliders, but you know, do it how you want. This is just a really quick dinner. It's just basically just lunch meat and cheese, and you know, you put it in the oven and it's pretty much done. So I have these whole wheat buns. They're a little bit better for you. They have some more fiber in them than, you know, white slider buns, of course. But you could use King's Hawaiian, like the savory ones. It'd be fine too. But anyway, so yeah, I'm just getting those toasted up. Just trying to see, look how beautiful these look. I'm going to show you here in just a second. Ooh, yes. Ooh, yes. That's what I like. And then I'm going to toast the tops. The other ones were the bottoms, of course. And look at that. I just love it. Okay. Moving on to the poppy seed sauce. So in the small saucepan here, I have about a half a stick of butter. I'm only doing like 8 of the sliders, so I don't need like a full recipe. So I just kind of cut it down a little bit. So now I have just a couple tablespoons of brown sugar. Dropped a little bit on the burner there, as you can tell. And then a tablespoon of Dijon mustard. You really need the Dijon in this recipe. And then a little bit of Worcestershire sauce. About a tablespoon of that too. I just eyeball it. It's just easier. And then 1.5 teaspoons of poppy seeds goes in. Usually I put in a little bit of barbecue sauce in this too, but I forgot. I don't know why I didn't do that. I have it in the fridge. I just didn't do it. And then you just kind of mix it together and let it all melt. Let the sugar dissolve, the butter melt down all the way, and just kind of let it all emulsify together. And this is what you're going to put on top of the slider buns at the end, you know, when you're done. So to go with it, I'm going to make smashed potatoes. So first I have a bag of potatoes there boiling, and while that is happening, I'm just going to get the garlic ready to make the garlic butter. And I'm going to brush it all over the smashed potatoes when I put them in the oven, and that's going to help them get nice and crispy. I like to use Yukon Golds, by the way, not russets or, you know, baby reds. I like the Yukon Golds because they're really, really creamy. I always used to cook with baby reds, but I just really like the Yukon Golds because they're just so creamy. And they're a little bit less starchy than russets. You know. So that's why we use those. I just go with however much garlic I feel like using. I use probably 5 or 6 cloves probably of garlic. And I like to use my microplane instead of just mincing them with a knife, because you just get kind of a paste, and it dissolves a little bit better and gets into the butter a little bit more, I think. But that's just me. And then I'm also putting on some dried rosemary and some dill weed. Dill is so good, and so is rosemary. It's just really good with potatoes. So I wanted to make sure and put those in. And I'm adding a little bit of garlic salt, so you can't get too much of that garlic flavor in my world. So now the potatoes are done boiling. So then you put them onto a parchment-lined baking sheets, and then you just kind of get like the bottom of a glass or whatever you want to use to kind of flatten them, and which kind of makes the flesh tear and the inside of the potato is more exposed. And then I like to get a fork and just scrape along the top of the potatoes to kind of make to help the butter get in more into the potato, and you get kind of crispy bits on top with the mashed up potato. And it's really good. My family really likes to have these, you know, just a different way to eat potatoes instead of having them mashed all the time or French fries. This is just kind of another way we like to make them. And then I'm adding Parmesan cheese to the top of the potatoes. You don't have to, but I like to do that. Okay, now I'm going to kind of start the process of assembling these sliders. So normally I would use roast beef for these sliders, but they were all out of roast beef at the store. So I just went with pastrami, just one regular container of Hillshire Farms lunch meat. Whatever kind you want to use is fine. And then, so you kind of dice it up and then add some barbecue sauce to the lunch meat, just enough to coat all of the pieces of lunch meat. I like to, as you could see, I kind of cut them into ribbons. I think they just go better onto the buns that way, and it's just, I feel like it's just easier to eat in a way. I don't know. I just like it. I do that every time. You could just put them on there straight from the package though. Don't feel like you have to cut them up like I did. And then you just add on some cheddar cheese. I believe this is just mild cheddar cheese, or you could use Colby. And then you just I like to put it in the oven first and let the cheese melt before putting the tops on, because you're not going to put the sliders in for very long in the oven. I put mine into a 400-degree oven. I just like to make sure the cheese is really, really well melted. And when I first made this recipe before, the cheese just didn't get melted enough without putting it in the oven before you put the tops on. Does that make sense? I don't know. Anyway, so I have some Italian parsley here. I'm just kind of garnishing the tops of these potatoes, and they look fabulous. So these have been in the oven for maybe, I don't know, 10 minutes. Just enough for the tops to kind of get a little bit crispy. And yeah, that's all there is to it. It's really easy. I'll type up this recipe in the description box for you. And this is just a meal I like to make when I don't want to spend a lot of time in the kitchen, but I know that it's going to make a really good dinner for everybody, and everybody really enjoys it. And also, I'll put a link for the smashed potatoes also, but they're really easy to do. And I just eat mine with a little bit of ranch, the potatoes. All right, now for a sub in a tub. This is just kind of a take on the grinder sandwich, but instead of bread, I'm going to use chickpea pasta, and that's going to help bump up the protein and the fiber. So first of all, we're getting the lunch meats all ready. I have turkey, pepperoni, I have salami, and then just like maybe a handful and a half of iceberg lettuce. Here we go. I'm just going to chop everything up to, make it easier to eat instead of it being, full size everything, which gets a little difficult. Anyway, and then I have turkey in there. Yeah, I said turkey. I think I used the Lando Frost brand. I like that brand. But you could use Deli turkey too. That's no problem. Or use regular pepperoni if you want. Just turkey pepperoni is a little bit healthier for you. And then I have red onion here. I don't have tomato, or I would have put that in also. I love tomato. But, you know, the tomatoes just aren't really great in the store. They're just not. And it's almost not even worth it to put it in there because it's not good. Okay, and then I have some cheddar cheese here, but you could use provolone if you wanted, or colby if you wanted. Banana peppers. I love these little things. They're so good on a sandwich. I love the vinegary kind of peppery bite you get from these little fellas. I just love them. They're so good. They're wonderful. Yeah. And a little bit tart, vinegary. Yeah, I just like it. Anyway, so on to the dressing. So just like a couple tablespoons of mayo. You could use light mayo if you want. I don't have light mayo, so I'm not going to use it. And this is just the Olive Garden Italian dressing. I really like that stuff. I'm really glad that you can get it in the grocery store. That makes it just really nice. And then I put in a little bit of the juice from the banana peppers because that adds a little bit of the sourness, a little bit of tang, if you will. And then a little bit of red wine vinegar. You can't forget that when you're making a little grinder type sandwich salad situation. And then you just mix it all up. Mixy. Let's check the seasoning here. I'm going to put a little bit of garlic powder in it. We can't forget that. We need the garlic. Very important. I will type this recipe up for you also. Just have it written down here. A little bit of salt and pepper, not too much salt. We have a store-bought dressing here, so we all know there's plenty of salt in those. Yes, there is. And then a little bit of Italian seasoning goes on the salad and in the dressing. I think you need a little bit of extra herbs in there, just mixing this up. If you wanted to have this just in the fridge, you know, you would just put it away just like this and then store your dressing separately, of course. And here comes the chickpea pasta. It's just kind of different stuff, man. I mean, as you can see, it's looking a little rough, but you have to be careful not to overboil those or they just dissolve right in the water. Yeah, and always make sure you rinse that chickpea pasta after you're done cooking it too. Yeah, it's just different, but you know, we're trying to be a little bit, you know, more healthy. But this salad was really good. I loved it. I think I want to make it again. And here it is all done. I really enjoyed all these recipes and I hope you will too. And see you in the next one. Please come back to my channel. Everything will be in the description for you and I'll see you soon. Bye.